Capital News tonight. 37 patients recover from the coronavirus in the country. More than 2,700 households in Arusha, Chini Ward, Moshi District, Kilimanjaro region made homeless by floods. And in sports, the Dar es Salaam Basketball Association to cancel the league this season if the coronavirus pandemic is not curbed before October. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. Speaking after receiving a donation from Azania Group of the Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, the Elderly and Children, ONE McLaren, has said 37 patients have recovered from the coronavirus and that 17 others are waiting for final results in order to be cleared from the infection. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, Minister ONE McLaren also urged patients who have recovered to adhere to instructions given by health experts in order to protect themselves from new infections.
Watu 108 hawana ugonjwa wowote.
108 people have no disease, no fever or cough. But we detained them in the centers so as to wait for the last tests to ascertain that they have not been infected before permitting them to go home. Today we have released 37 people as their tests showed they do not have COVID-19 and they have gone home. So I call on the public not to discriminate against them. They are our friends and family.
Watengenezaji wa unga wa ngano, mafuta na sabuni,
manufacturers of flour, cooking oil and soap. As we serve Tanzanians who are our customers, we decided to support the major efforts being made in the fight against the spread of COVID-19, which is not only a problem for Tanzania, but also for the entire world.
The Ministry of Health in Zanzibar has announced 15 new coronavirus cases, with President Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein calling on regional, district and Shia leaders to control activities which violate measures being taken to curb the coronavirus, as legal action will be taken against those who violate the directives. In his press statement, the Minister of Health, Hamad Rashid, said that all the 15 coronavirus cases are Tanzanian and that 10 are from Unguja and 5 from Pemba, and that 624 are being quarantined in Pemba. He said that 632 people have been discharged after 14 days of observation and quarantine, and that Zanzibar now has 98 confirmed cases, 3 deaths and 4 recoveries from the virus. In his Ramadan message, President Shein said that legal measures are necessary in the fight against the coronavirus.
I direct regional commissioners in all districts of Zanzibar, as well as the Shehas, to ensure that their administrative areas, they prevent all actions that can affect government efforts and plans in the fight against coronavirus, including gatherings, and that they should not hesitate to take action against anyone who will go against the directive given by the government.
More than 2,700 households in Arusha, Chini Ward, Moshi District, Kilimanjaro region have become homeless after their houses were engulfed by floods caused by ongoing rains in the region. Some flood victims being sheltered at TPC sugar plant say the rains fell at night and that they were not able to salvage any belongings.
At around 7 p.m., we started to see the water rise in the place we live, and they started to flood us. Fortunately, TPC tractors had already been sent to rescue us, and we had to agree because the situation was very dire. They then brought us here after telling us to take women and children first. Some houses have collapsed, others have been flooded, and the situation is bad. We continue to help others in various areas. You have seen the rains and they continue to fall in hilltop areas, so water continues to flow down. A big part of Moshi district has been affected, and there are still areas where water continues to rise and people continue to be affected. The lucky few can get out with some of their belongings, but the priority for many is to save their lives. The main moves for us were taken yesterday after seeing that the water was causing destruction. We went to the villages and told them to evacuate, as well as send tractors and trailers to help them move here, which is safer, but they refused and we could not force them. We were able to only take a few women and children.
David Chukwu, a Nigerian national and resident of Masaki in Dar es Salaam, and two co-accused, both Tanzanian nationals, who were arrested last week following allegations of being found in possession of 268.50 kilograms of heroin, have appeared in Kisutu Resident Magistrate Court to face charges of drug trafficking and money laundering of more than 150 million shillings. The co-accused are Iso Lupembe, a resident of Mbezi Luis, and Alistair Mbele, resident in Mbezi Kibanda in Dar es Salaam. Now, the accused are alleged to have been found transporting 268.50 kilograms of heroin on 4th of April this year in Mbezi Kibanda area. Now, in the second offense, the accused are alleged to have been involved in making transactions of $61,500 US and 17,835,000 Tanzanian shillings, which came from the illegal drug trade. The accused have been returned in remand custody as investigation on the case is incomplete. Now, members of parliament have called on the government to allocate a budget to support payment of salaries of teachers from private schools after they were closed due to the coronavirus, as some schools have stopped paying salaries. The call was made in Dodoma by members of parliament when contributing to the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology's budget estimates for the 2020-2021 financial year.
I asked the government to take the bond of the registered schools so that employees receive some amount of money, even if it is 30%. We have money in Tanzania, and if we don't, we should take out bank loans. People coming from the mines say there's a lot of gold there. We should then go and get the gold, go to the global market, sell it for a high price, then bring the money and pay them. The government should look for alternative ways to pay these private school teachers, either by giving them loans to be repaid by the private schools when students return to class. There are also social funds and unemployment benefits. It is high time the government directed these funds to give them these benefits. My ministry has started special radio programs so that students can still continue to receive education at home. So I call on parents and guardians to oversee their children to ensure they still engage in home studying, and that they should continue to protect them and not let them go outside for unnecessary reasons.
Residents from Kash Ward in Babati district and Kikore Ward in Kondoa district, the Dodoma region, have said that after the bridge on Majengo River was destroyed by the ongoing rains, they have been facing challenges in conducting their development activities as well as accessing social services.
We ask the government to consider us, especially we women who have small children and some who are pregnant. There was even a woman who was unable to pass through this bridge, but thanks to help, they managed to help her cross and get her to the hospital. I received reports at 6 a.m. this morning that this bridge was about to be carried away by water. We made the effort to round up residents to save what was possible so that people can get access to their daily and main basic activities. If this bridge is swept away, it means we will be an island with no connection to our relatives. They are pregnant women and one almost gave birth here. The residents are the one who worked to put the logs there and helped her pass to get to the hospital. We ask our president, who listens to us, to ensure the government helps us with this problem.
The government has completed construction of MV Malagarasi after it got technical problems at Ilagala village in Kigoma region, a situation that has affected transport services for residents from 6 wards and 75 villages.
Mfumo wa uendeshaji ulipata matatizo.
There were problems with the operation system, and once this happened, we took action to save the passengers and their properties as well as to get them to a safe place. After ensuring this, we went to fix the ferry so as to return it back to normal functions. I call on the public to be patient because there's a lot of water, so we will reduce the routes. This is for our benefit and to ensure our safety. When the ferry experienced problems and was not operational, people from about 25 villages could not get access to certain services. But as I said, we were not completely stuck, as boats were still functioning within Lake Tanganyika.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows next. Welcome back, and in international news, Kenya has confirmed 17 more cases of the new coronavirus, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 320. 12 of the cases are from Mombasa and 5 from Nairobi. The Ministry of Health has tested 668 samples in the last 24 hours, with the bulk of the samples being tested in Nairobi, which is leading with the number of infections.
Ultimate day of the national curfew announced on March 27th as part of the wider measures to contain COVID-19 disease. Despite a few lapses, we have made tremendous use of this period to halt spread of this virus. It is very important that we look back and review our progress, where we are and where we are headed. Significant gains due to the measures we have put in place. We have equally noted a degree of complacency slowly creeping back.
Health ministers from member countries of the East African Community are expected to meet and complete discussions on how they can cooperate in controlling coronavirus infections. The discussions will take place when more than 1,000 samples tested in Uganda show that 11 new cases are lorry drivers. Among them, 6 are from Tanzania and 5 from Kenya.
If we had a discussion with the East Africa community on how we can handle the issue, truck drivers can be allowed to go back to their countries. It is important that we address the issue of importation so that we can ensure that there are no further importation of COVID-19 among the East African countries.
3 patients in Rwanda have recovered from the coronavirus in the past 24 hours, with confirmed infected cases, bringing the number of coronavirus cases to 154 in the country. The Ministry of Health has said that 87 people have recovered from the virus since its outbreak in Rwanda.
There's so many inconveniences that we experience through the hotlines advertised to those who need help with the coronavirus. We urge people to stop such practices because they might cause those who are in need to lose opportunities of receiving help. These people were arrested for misuse of hotlines provided for those who need help on coronavirus issues. The number is supposed to be used in giving out information on COVID-19 and not a ground for jokes or even insulting officers in charge.
And companies from the private sector in Burundi have started to respond to the government's call to support efforts in fighting against the coronavirus outbreak by giving protective personal materials against the virus.
hariho n'ayandi.
Private companies in the country are urged to come forward in supporting the government's help in the fight against coronavirus. It is important to support each other instead of waiting for aid from outside the country, because all these are done for our people who work in your factories and companies.
And that is the end of national news. Business news follows shortly.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
We believe that the driver is the customer.
To change the mindset of traditional HR to the digitalization.
Make sure that everybody can get some access to financial services.
And once we understand the vision of our leaders, we then need to be behind them and help them in achieving that vision.
Business have involved mercantile operations, trade guilds, or shared agricultural production, infrastructure, construction, financial sectors, tourism, and mining. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, TPSF, has stressed on the importance of involving local investors to speed up development of the industrial sector in order to address disasters, which has often resulted in importation of many of the facilities needed to manage the disasters.
Kama mnavyofahamu, kwa kweli baada ya janga hili kutokea,
since the outbreak, we have witnessed some changes in investment, and even access to products is also a challenge. Believe the way forward to ensure there's an increase in domestic investments, especially in production of essential products, as well as increase in production of export products.
Tutumie nafasi hii pia kuhamasisha sasa watu ambao
we are calling on those with good production capacity to also pay their taxes well, so that they could boost the government's ability to empower sectors that were highly affected at this era.
Zava and 21st Century Textile Industries in Morogoro Municipal have said they are in the process of starting production of face masks, being measured to support efforts of fight against the coronavirus pandemic in the country.
If we see any signs which are not convincing, we will not care who owns the factory. It will be closed down. Right now, we are all in a war zone. Everybody is involved in this fight. We have improved our production levels, where we have low level, middle level, which have 2 layers, and the first level.
With the holy month of Ramadan starting tomorrow, some traders in Dar es Salaam have started to hike prices on food items such as which are used to prepare iftar. Now the traders say high transport costs has contributed to the price rise.
The government is supposed to care for everybody, because the issue of sugar is not just about the Muslims, since it is an essential commodity that everybody uses in their homes and businesses. The price of sugar is now 2,600. We are calling on traders to be considerate during this period. During Ramadan, traders tend to increase food prices. Apart from the ongoing global pandemic, prices are still high. I would like to call on the government to monitor wholesalers who are always the source of changing prices.
And that is the end of business news. Sports news follows next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 metres. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 metres. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose and then.
Welcome back, and in sports news, the Dar es Salaam Basketball Association will rule out the Dar es Salaam League this season if the coronavirus pandemic is not curbed before October this year.
In case it goes on to October or November, we'll be forced to rule off the league so that we can get prepared for the next season. If it ends around July, we can proceed because basketball is not like football. We can play consecutively.
The National Netball Association has told Immigration, JKT Mbweni and Jeshi Stars club managements to safely put away funds which were meant for participation in the African Championships but have been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic.
First of all, I would like to thank clubs that are going to participate in Uganda, which are TAMISEMI, JKT Stars, Mbweni, and Jeshi Stars. We thank their managements for agreeing to send the teams to Uganda. We request them to save the funds they sought for the competition.
The race director of the London Marathon has refused to rule out staging the event as an elite-only race in the autumn if social distancing rules make it impossible to run as normal.
Said that while organizers still hope to hold the event with 45% mass participation on 4th of October, they were now scenario planning other options because of the global pandemic. Last month's Tokyo Marathon was staged as an elite-only race, with the field reduced to just 300 runners and the streets largely deserted. Most major spring marathons subsequently decided to postpone their races to the autumn, but those events also look in doubt with no vaccine in sight. And ominously, the Berlin Marathon has already cancelled its race in September.
Gareth Bale will hand over almost £1 million to fund the fight against coronavirus in Wales and Spain. Here more details.
Ford and his wife Emma have made a €500,000 donation to help NHS staff fighting the crisis in Cardiff, and will follow that up with a further €500,000 for the health service in Madrid, where he and his family have been on lockdown since 14th of March. Bale made the donation to the Cardiff and Vale Health University Health Board and released a video thanking NHS staff for their work amid the crisis. The charity, which is linked to the hospital where he was born, covers costs for staff and patients not provided for by NHS funding. A 30-year-old who lives in the west of Madrid is arranging for similar payment to be made in Spain.
The McLaren team principal Zak Brown has accused Ferrari of living in denial about the existential threat Formula One faces from the coronavirus crisis after the Italian team's principal Mattia Binotto said now was not the time to react in a hurry when it came to making decisions on the sport's future. Here's the story.
Agreed a $445 million cap per team to come into effect next season. McLaren and others are seeking a further drop to $100 million, a move opposed by Ferrari. Speaking to reporters on a Zoom video call, Brown highlighted that comment as the argument over team spending intensified. Brown also took aim at Binotto over a private settlement with the FIA following an investigation into the team's engine after Binotto said Ferrari had an ethical duty to protect jobs.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Karija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.